There is a strange misunderstanding in the world today. Many believe that power belongs to the loudest voice, the strongest opinion, or the person who constantly demands attention. They think influence is measured by how much they speak, how often they are seen, or how many people applaud them. But look carefully. The mountain never announces its height. The ocean never boasts about its depth. The sun never asks anyone to admire its light. Yet their presence changes everything around them. Real power has never needed permission to exist. Your greatest strength is not hidden in the words you speak. It is hidden in the habits you practice when no one is watching. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every moment you control your emotions. Instead of reacting, every temptation you quietly overcome without seeking recognition. These are the invisible victories that transform an ordinary person into someone impossible to shake. The world notices results, but it rarely sees the silent battles that created them. Most people are chasing respect with their mouths while losing it through their actions. They make promises they never keep. They speak about dreams they never pursue. They demand recognition before earning it. But a disciplined person understands something different. They know that character is not built in conversation. It is built in moments of solitude, in difficult choices, in the quiet decision to continue when nobody is encouraging them. Every act of discipline is a brick placed into the foundation of an unbreakable life. Silence is often mistaken for weakness because it cannot be measured by noise. Yet silence is where patience grows. Silence is where wisdom is sharpened. Silence is where the mind learns to observe before it reacts. A person who controls their tongue often learns to control their thoughts. A person who controls their thoughts begins to control their actions. And a person who controls their actions gradually becomes the master of their own destiny. The strongest people are rarely the ones trying to prove themselves. They walk with calmness because they have nothing to defend. They do not compete for attention because their focus is on becoming better than they were yesterday. Their confidence does not come from compliments. It comes from the knowledge that they have kept the promises they made to themselves. That kind of confidence cannot be borrowed, purchased, or imitated. It is earned through countless silent decisions made over many years. Every habit you repeat is shaping the person you are becoming. The smallest disciplines, practiced consistently, have the power to change your future completely. While others search for shortcuts, you can choose mastery. While others chase approval, you can build character. While others waste energy trying to appear powerful, you can become powerful from within. The world may overlook these quiet habits today, but time never ignores discipline. Today, you will discover 7 silent habits that require no applause, no audience, and no recognition. Habits that strengthen your mind, sharpen your discipline, and build a presence so powerful that people will feel it before you ever speak. Because the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest, but the one who has mastered themselves will always leave the deepest impact. Power does not begin with recognition, it begins with restraint. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, heard, and praised, choosing silence becomes an act of extraordinary strength. Most people believe that influence comes from speaking more, proving themselves more often, and constantly reminding others of their value. But the deepest form of power has never relied on noise. It is built quietly, one disciplined choice at a time. A tree does not become mighty overnight, nor does it announce every inch of its growth. It stands through storms because its roots have been growing in silence for years. In the same way, a disciplined person develops an inner foundation that does not depend on applause, approval, or attention. Attention is temporary. It comes and goes with trends, opinions, and circumstances. Today, the world may celebrate someone, and tomorrow it may forget them completely. If your confidence depends on being noticed, your peace will always depend on the opinions of others. You will constantly seek validation, adjusting your behavior to satisfy expectations instead of living according to your principles. This is not freedom. It is quiet slavery to external approval. True strength begins the moment you stop asking the world to confirm your worth. The person who knows their value does not need to advertise it. Their actions speak with a voice that words can never replace. Silence creates space for observation. When you are not busy proving yourself, you begin to understand yourself. You notice your habits, your emotions, your weaknesses, and your reactions. You recognize where your energy is being wasted and where your discipline needs to grow. The loud mind rarely learns because it is too occupied with expressing itself. The quiet mind absorbs, reflects, and improves. This is why some of the wisest individuals speak only after they have listened deeply. Their silence is not empty. It is filled with awareness. Many people confuse silence with fear because they cannot imagine confidence without constant expression. They assume that if someone is not defending themselves, they must be weak. Yet there is a profound difference between being unable to speak and choosing not to speak. One comes from insecurity, the other from mastery. A person who has learned self-control understands that not every criticism deserves a response, not every disagreement deserves an argument, and not every challenge deserves immediate action. Sometimes the strongest response is patience. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to be pulled into unnecessary conflict. Think about how much energy is lost every day trying to impress people who have no real influence on your life. Hours are spent explaining decisions, defending choices, comparing achievements, and chasing recognition that fades almost as quickly as it arrives. Imagine redirecting all of that energy toward becoming stronger, wiser, healthier, and more disciplined. Instead of investing in appearances, you invest in substance. Instead of building an image, you build character. One disappears with changing opinions. The other remains through every season of life. There is a quiet confidence that comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you wake up early, even though no one is watching, when you complete difficult work without expecting praise, when you continue improving, despite receiving no recognition, something powerful begins to form within you. Your self-respect grows because it is no longer dependent on the approval of others. Every disciplined action becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. That trust becomes the foundation of genuine confidence, and genuine confidence never needs to announce its presence. Observe nature carefully. The river does not force its way through the mountain by shouting. It shapes stone through consistent movement over time. The moon does not compete with the stars for attention. It simply reflects its light with quiet certainty. The strongest foundations of great buildings remain hidden beneath the surface, carrying enormous weight without ever being seen. The same principle applies to human character. What remains invisible often determines what becomes visible later. The unseen hours of discipline produce the visible moments of excellence. The silent sacrifices create the opportunities that others call luck. People are naturally drawn to those who remain calm under pressure. When everyone else is reacting emotionally, the disciplined person observes carefully before acting. Their composure communicates stability. Their patience reflects maturity. Their measured actions inspire trust. because they are guided by principles rather than impulses. This quiet presence influences others without demanding attention. It reminds us that authority is not established by volume, but by consistency. Respect is not earned through self-promotion, but through reliable character demonstrated over time. The desire to be noticed often distracts people from becoming worthy of notice. They focus on looking successful instead of becoming capable. They chase appearances instead of mastery. Yet mastery grows in places where no audience exists. It develops during the early mornings, when comfort is sacrificed for purpose, during difficult conversations handled with dignity, during moments of temptation overcome without recognition, during the countless ordinary decisions that slowly shape an extraordinary life. Each silent victory strengthens the mind, deepens discipline, and prepares the individual for challenges that louder people are rarely ready to face. When your life is built upon these silent habits, your presence alone begins to communicate strength before a single word is spoken. Self-discipline is not measured by the promises you make. It is measured by the promises you keep. Anyone can speak about changing their life. Anyone can declare ambitious goals, announce new routines, or inspire others with passionate words. But words have no weight unless they are supported by consistent action. The world is filled with people who know exactly what they should do, yet very few possess the discipline to do it every single day. This is where true character is revealed. It is not found in moments of excitement, but in moments of repetition. It is not built through dramatic decisions, but through ordinary habits, practiced with extraordinary consistency. Every morning presents a simple choice. You can follow your feelings, or you can follow your principles. Feelings change with the weather. They rise and fall depending on comfort, convenience, and circumstance. Principles remain steady. A disciplined person understands that waiting to feel motivated is one of the greatest obstacles to personal growth. They wake up and fulfill their responsibility regardless of their emotional state. They understand that progress belongs to those who act despite resistance, not because resistance has disappeared. This quiet commitment is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Small habits often appear insignificant because their results are invisible in the beginning. Reading a few pages each day may not seem life-changing. Exercising for 30 minutes may not transform the body overnight. Choosing patience over anger in one difficult conversation may not immediately repair relationships. Yet every repeated action leaves a mark on your character. Habits are like drops of water falling onto stone. One drop changes nothing, but thousands of drops reshape the surface completely. In the same way, daily discipline slowly transforms your identity until one day people notice a completely different person without realizing the countless silent choices that made that transformation possible. Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate results from temporary effort. They work hard for a week and wonder why their lives remain unchanged. They begin a new routine but abandon it the moment excitement fades. They confuse intensity with consistency. Yet discipline has never been about doing something perfectly once. It has always been about doing the right thing repeatedly, especially when no immediate reward exists. The strongest habits are formed after the initial motivation disappears. They become part of who you are because they are no longer dependent on emotion. They become automatic expressions of your values. There is a powerful difference between performing for others and developing yourself in private. Performing seeks applause. Development seeks growth. When your actions are motivated by recognition, Your discipline becomes unstable because it depends on an audience. But when your actions are guided by personal standards, you continue improving whether anyone notices or not. You clean your environment because you value order. You exercise because you respect your body. You study because you honor your future. You remain honest because integrity matters more than convenience. These actions may appear ordinary, but together they create an extraordinary foundation for lasting success. Self-discipline also teaches patience. Modern life encourages instant gratification. Everything is designed to provide immediate pleasure, immediate entertainment, and immediate satisfaction. As a result, many people lose the ability to endure discomfort for a meaningful purpose. They seek the easiest path rather than the most valuable one. Discipline challenges this mindset. It teaches you to delay temporary pleasure in exchange for lasting fulfillment. It reminds you that every meaningful achievement requires sacrifice, persistence, and time. A seed planted today does not become a tree tomorrow, yet it continues growing beneath the surface long before anyone can see its progress. Each disciplined habit strengthens more than your abilities. It strengthens your relationship with yourself. Every time you keep a commitment, even a small one, you send yourself a powerful message that your word matters. This builds self-trust, and self-trust is one of the greatest forms of confidence a person can possess. When challenges arise, you no longer wonder whether you are capable because your daily actions have already answered that question. You have proven to yourself repeatedly that you can endure discomfort, overcome excuses, and continue moving forward despite obstacles. The beauty of disciplined habits is that they eventually require less effort than constant indecision. A person who has trained themselves to wake up early no longer debates with the alarm clock every morning. A person who has committed to regular exercise does not negotiate with laziness each day. A person who practices emotional control does not allow every inconvenience to dictate their mood. Their habits have become part of their identity. They no longer force themselves to act with discipline because discipline has become their natural way of living. People often admire successful individuals without recognizing the countless ordinary routines that produced extraordinary outcomes. They see confidence, but overlook the years of preparation. They admire wisdom, but ignore the years of quiet learning. They respect strength, but fail to notice the repeated choices that built resilience. Every remarkable life is supported by habits that seem too small to matter until they are repeated over months, years, and decades. The person who quietly commits to these daily disciplines gradually becomes someone whose actions speak louder than any speech ever could, and whose consistency commands respect without demanding attention from anyone around them. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against another person. It is not against circumstances, competition, or the challenges that appear before you. The greatest battle takes place within your own mind. Every day, emotions rise like waves, tempting you to react without thinking. Anger asks you to speak words you will later regret. Fear tells you to give up before you even begin. Pride convinces you that you are always right. Envy steals your gratitude by forcing you to compare your journey with someone else's. These emotions are natural, but allowing them to control your actions is a choice. The person who masters their emotions possesses a strength that cannot be taken away by any external situation. Many people believe strength is the ability to overpower others, but true strength is the ability to remain in control when everything around you is trying to pull you apart. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy, Anyone can smile when everything is going according to plan. The real test begins when expectations are broken, when criticism arrives, when disappointment replaces hope, or when failure stands in front of your dreams. In these moments, your emotional discipline becomes visible. You discover whether your peace depends on your circumstances, or whether it comes from something much deeper. Imagine a lake on a quiet morning. Its surface reflects the sky perfectly because it is still. Throw a stone into the water, and the reflection disappears beneath the ripples. The human mind works in the same way. When emotions are constantly disturbed by anger, anxiety, and frustration, clear thinking becomes impossible. Decisions become impulsive. Words become careless. Actions become driven by temporary feelings rather than lasting wisdom. But when the mind is calm, even difficult situations become easier to understand. Clarity replaces confusion, and wisdom replaces reaction. One of the most powerful forms of self-discipline is learning to pause before responding. That single moment of silence can change the direction of an entire conversation, a relationship, or even a life. Most regret is born from actions taken without reflection. A harsh sentence spoken in anger can remain in someone's heart for years. A reckless decision made in frustration can destroy opportunities that took years to build. The disciplined person understands that not every feeling deserves immediate expression. Emotions are valuable signals, but they should never become unquestioned commands. Mastering emotions does not mean suppressing them or pretending they do not exist. It means acknowledging them without becoming their prisoner. You may feel anger, but you choose kindness. You may feel fear, but you choose courage. You may feel disappointment, but you choose perseverance. The emotion is real, yet it does not dictate your behavior. This is where true freedom begins. When your actions are guided by your values instead of your impulses, you become the author of your life instead of a victim of your moods. There will always be people who misunderstand you, criticize you, or attempt to provoke you. If every opinion controls your emotions, then your peace belongs to strangers. Every careless comment will determine your mood. Every disagreement will disturb your focus. Every insult will steal your energy. But a disciplined mind refuses to hand over such power. It understands that another person's words reveal more about their inner world than about your worth. Instead of reacting emotionally, you learn to observe, evaluate, and respond only when necessary. This quiet restraint often speaks louder than the loudest argument. Patience is one of the highest expressions of emotional mastery. It allows you to endure discomfort without abandoning your purpose. It reminds you that not every problem requires an immediate solution, and not every obstacle is permanent. The strongest trees survive storms because they bend instead of breaking. Likewise, the strongest people adapt without losing their principles. They understand that emotions, like seasons, always change. Joy comes and goes. Sadness comes and goes. Excitement rises and fades. Anger appears and eventually disappears. Knowing this helps you avoid making permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. Your emotional habits shape every area of your life. They influence your relationships, your career, your health, and your ability to lead others. People naturally trust those who remain composed during difficult moments. They seek advice from those who respond with wisdom instead of panic. Calmness creates confidence because it communicates stability. It tells others that you are not easily shaken by pressure or uncertainty. This quiet confidence becomes a source of influence far greater than loud opinions or dramatic displays of emotion. Every challenge life places before you becomes an opportunity to strengthen emotional discipline. Every difficult conversation becomes a chance to practice patience. Every disappointment becomes an opportunity to develop resilience. Every criticism becomes a lesson in humility. Every delay becomes an exercise in perseverance. Over time, these experiences shape a person whose inner world remains steady, regardless of external circumstances. Such a person does not waste energy fighting every battle or proving every point, because they understand that the greatest victory is not controlling others, but mastering themselves, allowing their calm presence to become a source of strength that inspires everyone fortunate enough to stand beside them. Greatness is rarely the result of one extraordinary moment. More often, it is the result of thousands of ordinary moments handled with extraordinary consistency. Many people spend their lives waiting for a single opportunity that will change everything, believing success arrives through luck, talent, or perfect timing. They search for dramatic breakthroughs while ignoring the quiet routines that shape every remarkable life. The truth is that your future is not built by what you do once in a while. It is built by what you choose to do every single day. Small actions, repeated with discipline, become the invisible force that transforms an average life into an exceptional one. Imagine placing one brick on an empty piece of land. It seems insignificant. No one would call it a house. Add another brick tomorrow, then another the next day, and continue this process without interruption. At first, progress appears painfully slow. There are no walls, no roof, no visible structure. But as the days become weeks and the weeks become months, something remarkable begins to emerge. The house is not built in one day. It is built because every single brick was placed without neglecting the previous one. Your habits work in exactly the same way. Every disciplined choice is another brick in the life you are constructing. People often underestimate the power of small improvements because they cannot immediately see the results. Reading 10 pages each day may not seem impressive. Saving a small amount of money each week may appear insignificant. Practicing a skill for 30 minutes every evening may feel too simple to matter. But consistency possesses a unique power that intensity can never replace. Small efforts accumulate quietly beneath the surface until they eventually produce outcomes that surprise everyone, including the person who practiced them. What appears to be sudden success is usually the visible reward of years spent doing ordinary things with unwavering commitment. One of the greatest obstacles to consistency is the desire for immediate satisfaction. Modern life encourages people to expect quick rewards for minimal effort. If progress is not visible within days, many become discouraged and abandon the path altogether. They mistake slow progress for failure. Yet nature teaches a different lesson. A bamboo seed may remain hidden beneath the ground for years before it suddenly grows with astonishing speed. During that hidden period, it is not doing nothing. It is developing roots capable of supporting future growth. In the same way, your consistent habits are strengthening your foundation, long before anyone notices the results. There will be days when motivation disappears. You will wake up feeling tired. You will question whether your efforts are making any difference. You will watch others seem to advance more quickly, while your own progress feels invisible. These are the moments that define your character. Anyone can remain committed when they feel inspired. The disciplined person continues even when inspiration is absent. They understand that consistency is not an emotional decision, but a conscious commitment. They act according to their values instead of their feelings, knowing that discipline produces results, long after motivation has faded. Each small action sends a message to your mind about the kind of person you are becoming. Every workout completed despite fatigue strengthens your identity as someone who values health. Every page studied instead of wasted on distraction strengthens your identity as a lifelong learner. Every promise kept despite inconvenience reinforces your belief that your word matters. These repeated choices gradually reshape how you see yourself. Eventually, discipline no longer feels like something you force yourself to do. It becomes a natural expression of your identity. You are no longer trying to become disciplined, because discipline has become part of who you are. Consistency also protects you from the emotional extremes that often derail progress. Some people work with tremendous energy one week, only to lose all momentum the next. They rely on excitement instead of structure. Their progress rises and falls with their emotions, making lasting growth almost impossible. A consistent person understands that slow movement forward is far more valuable than occasional bursts of effort, followed by long periods of inactivity. They focus less on speed and more on direction. Even the smallest step taken every day will eventually surpass those who sprint for a short distance before giving up. The beauty of consistency is that it compounds over time. Just as interest grows in a well-managed investment, disciplined habits multiply their rewards with each passing day. Knowledge deepens through continuous study. Strength increases through regular training. Wisdom develops through repeated reflection. Confidence grows each time you fulfill another commitment to yourself. These benefits are rarely noticeable in isolation, but together they create a powerful transformation that reaches every area of life. Others may only notice the final result, but you will know it was created by countless quiet decisions made when no one was watching. Extraordinary lives are not reserved for extraordinary people. They are built by ordinary individuals who refuse to neglect the simple disciplines that others overlook. They understand that every sunrise offers another opportunity to improve, however slightly. They recognize that each consistent action, no matter how small, is shaping the person they will become tomorrow. Over the course of months and years, these seemingly insignificant choices accumulate into remarkable achievements, proving that lasting success is never an accident, but the natural outcome of unwavering commitment to the smallest actions, repeated with purpose, until excellence becomes impossible to ignore. There is a kind of influence that cannot be measured by titles, wealth, or the number of people who know your name. It is the quiet influence of a person who has mastered themselves. Such a person does not need to command attention because their presence naturally earns it. They enter a room without seeking admiration, yet people notice their calmness. They speak only when their words add value, yet others listen carefully. They carry themselves with humility instead of arrogance, and this quiet confidence creates a lasting impression that no loud performance can imitate. Wisdom, confidence, and influence do not grow through constant self-promotion. They grow in the silent moments when character is being shaped. Silence is often misunderstood because many people associate it with weakness or uncertainty. In reality, silence can become one of the greatest teachers a person will ever have. When you stop filling every moment with unnecessary words, you begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You become aware of your habits, your fears, your desires, and your distractions. Instead of reacting to every situation, you begin observing it. Observation creates understanding, and understanding creates wisdom. The person who listens deeply will always learn more than the person who insists on speaking first. Modern life constantly encourages noise. There is always another opinion to express, another argument to join, another notification demanding attention, another opportunity to prove yourself. In this endless stream of distraction, silence becomes rare. Yet it is precisely because silence is rare that it has become so valuable. When you create moments of stillness, your mind begins to recover from the constant pressure of stimulation. Your thoughts become organized instead of scattered. Your emotions settle instead of controlling you. Your decisions become intentional instead of impulsive. In silence, clarity quietly replaces confusion. Confidence that depends on recognition is fragile. It rises when people applaud and falls when they criticize. It depends on circumstances that cannot always be controlled. Genuine confidence grows differently. It is built through private victories that no one else may ever witness. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your belief in your own character. Every temptation you resist reminds you that your values are stronger than your impulses. Every challenge you endure without complaint deepens your trust in your own resilience. This confidence does not require approval because it has already been earned through discipline. People naturally respect those who remain composed in difficult situations. Imagine two individuals facing the same challenge. One immediately becomes emotional, speaks without thinking, blames others and loses control. The other remains quiet, takes time to understand the situation, and responds with patience and wisdom. Which person would you trust to lead? Which person would you seek for advice? Calmness communicates strength because it reveals self-mastery. It tells the world that your emotions serve your judgment instead of controlling it. This kind of influence cannot be demanded. It is quietly earned through years of disciplined living. Wisdom also requires humility. A person who believes they already know everything stops growing. Silence reminds us that there is always more to learn. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to understand another perspective. Every mistake becomes a lesson instead of a source of shame. Every challenge becomes a teacher instead of an enemy. Humility opens the door to continuous improvement because it replaces the desire to appear knowledgeable with the desire to become wiser. Those who learn without pride continue growing long after others have become trapped by their own certainty. Influence is not created by forcing others to follow you. It is created by becoming someone worth following. People observe your actions far more closely than your words. They notice how you respond under pressure, how you treat those who cannot benefit you, how faithfully you honor your commitments, and how consistently you live according to your values. These quiet demonstrations of integrity inspire trust. Trust becomes respect, and respect becomes influence. This process cannot be rushed because genuine influence grows slowly, rooted in repeated evidence of reliable character. The strongest leaders throughout history have often possessed an inner stillness that allowed them to make wise decisions even in moments of uncertainty. They did not allow panic to guide their choices. They understood that haste often creates mistakes, while patience creates understanding. Before acting, they reflected. Before speaking, they listened. Before judging, they sought clarity. Their silence was never empty. It was a space where wisdom could mature before becoming action. This habit protected them from unnecessary conflict and helped them focus on what truly mattered. As your wisdom deepens, your confidence becomes quieter. You no longer feel the need to win every argument, prove every point, or seek recognition for every achievement. You understand that your value is not determined by how loudly you speak, but by how faithfully you live. Your influence begins to extend beyond your words because people feel the stability of your character. They recognize the peace that comes from discipline, the strength that comes from patience, and the wisdom that grows through silent reflection. Without demanding attention or chasing admiration, you become the kind of person whose presence alone encourages others to become calmer, stronger, wiser, and more disciplined in every area of their own lives.